another episode of My Two Cent. My name is Paul Emerson, and I'll be giving you my 2 cent. I was just thinking about a leading question and how it's used to how it's used in general. Because I don't want my 2 cent isn't about, if you go on the internet, there's two sides, there's two extremes. There's this is the truth, that's the truth. What's missing from our discourse is solutions to problems, right? So a leading question is a question that, as implied, leads. It's a question that is asked to you in a way to manipulate you or to coerce you into taking a position or having a chance. It's also used to encourage you to go in a direction that you may or not want to go into. And the point of this video is to help you understand the nature of that, right? Like, let's say you want to, someone may ask you, do you really want to eat fries, right? That's, do you want fries is not a leading question. That's a question. Do you really want to eat fries is a leading question. And there are things in our world that we call finite and infinite. Some questions are closed and are finite. What is today? Do you want to go to this house? Those are finite questions. Infinite questions are questions that are like, how do you feel about potato chips? Or when someone is constantly in a position to argue the point, or when they want to invalidate you by the semantics of something, or if a question that is being asked has like multiple conditions. The best example I can give you is when I was working at Tim Hortons, because I just walked out the store. Because as a store manager, as a manager, you have to run your shift and you have to make your times. The store I was working at had the worst times in the entire nation, right? Imagine having the worst times in the entire nation. We were the very bottom. We were the floor. So when my experience as a manager, I came up with a methodology that I saw what was going on. I saw the process, what we were doing, how we were running around trying to achieve the objective, and I understood what was expected of us, right? So I used my experience as a manager and my understanding of objective reality and my principles of empirical science to figure out what was the most effective way to make times. And I figured it out. I figured out how to make times. So I started making times. So the young ladies that I was working with, I got them to understand that this is what I need you guys to do so we can make times. I explained the situation to them. I explained how things needed to happen and what needed to go on so we can make times, and we were making times. We started making times. I started showing people we were making times. One of the guys, there was a homeless guy that used to come to the store, and he would take the trash out and we would give him food for it. He came in one day while I had the shift running. Hey, what's going on? And he was literally like, man, I have never seen this store run as smooth as it's running now. He was like, he's like, is there any advice or any tips you can give to me on how to be a leader? And I just told him, I said, the best way to lead is to just let people do what they are supposed to do. If you know what someone's supposed to be doing and you allow them to do that, and you leave them alone when they're doing that, and you only communicate to them when they're deviating from what is expected of them in the context of what they should be doing, that's what you have to do to be a good leader. That's it. Like, nothing else matters. Like, why are you asking somebody to do something that they're already doing? Why are you telling someone to engage in a behavior that they're already engaged in? You just wasted their time. So thank you. I appreciate that. So what happened, or the dynamic of what occurred based on this question is, based on the topic of the video, when the general manager, because I was just a shift manager, because I wanted to take over that store as a general manager because the store didn't have a general manager. So my goal was to prove that I had what it take to run the store. So when the general manager started seeing what I was doing, he called me up like, hey, everything's going good, Paul, how are you? Yeah, we went through the motions. And then he's like, yeah, man, those girls weren't really working out. I was having issues with them, yada, yada. I'm like, whatever. He's like, I'm going to give you a new crew. I'm going to take care of you, man. We're going to get things going. It's going to be smooth. He rehired somebody that had been fired. I'm like, why did he bring this guy back? And then as soon as the guy that I was working with was working with me, I looked at him. I'm like, hey, I need you to do this. He looked at me like, he kind of gave me this weird look, and he did what he wanted to do. and the shift ran like crap. And I'm looking like, I've already figured out how to do this. What is all this unnecessary chaos? Why is there so much disorder? I don't understand. I've already fixed this. I've already proven that I can make times. I've already ran a perfect shift. Why are all these people that I'm working with now not doing what I'm asking them to do? Why are they not listening to me? And so, one day go by, everything's crap. The next day go by, everything's crap. Then another gentleman shows up, and he has this weird energy about himself. We're having a conversation about like money, how to run a shift, how much I'm getting paid. It's like all this weird energy. And then like none of that really matters. All we gotta do is our job, because I'm not really like interested, and I'm not thinking about anything in the future. I'm just focused on the present environment of what I'm doing at the moment, in that moment. And that's one of the most important things you have to understand about when people have hidden agendas. They aren't going to tell you, hey man, I got this hidden agenda. I'm trying to do all these negative things to you. How do you feel about that? What are your points? What are your perspective? When you have a focus on what you're trying to do, you're not worried about what everyone else around you is doing. And it's important to be focused on what you want and not waste energy thinking about the reality of the world around you, because it's going to distract you from being laser focused on what you're trying to achieve. That's why I'm making this video. So there comes a point where I explained to this gentleman, this is what I need you to do, this is how I need you to do it, because this is how you're going to make times. And we were he was taking a customer order, and he was frustrating the customer, asking the customer the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm like, that's not necessary. You don't have to do that. He's like, all you have to do to make times is you have to just keep the customer at the speaker for as long as possible and just keep asking them the same things over and over again. I told him, I said, I was like, that's going to make you come off as incompetent, and it's going to frustrate the customer. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is take their order as fast as possible, have the second order ready when the first customer gets to the window. As long as the second order is ready by the time the second customer gets to the window, you will always continuously make times. I've already done this, right? This isn't something I'm making up. I've already objectively proven that this works. His response to me was, see, that's your opinion. That's the way you see it. I have a different opinion and a different perspective. We can both have different perspectives on the same thing. Now, here's the thing that irritates the hell out of me as a manager. You don't get a fucking perspective when I'm in charge. You do what I ask you to do, not because I'm an egotistical asshole, but because I'm in charge. I'm the one running the show. I'm the one that's going to be accountable and responsible. You should do what I ask you to do so that we can prove that what I'm asking you to do doesn't work, so that we can grow and evolve from that. That's not what was happening. What was happening was what I've always said, racism. GM is already there. He wants me gone because he understands that I'm doing the job correctly. He needs me to leave. This guy that's challenging me is my replacement, because a GM doesn't want someone that's going to be capable and competent. He wants to continue to run the store under its potential and run it like crap, because that's the business model, right? The store has been running. The reason why they're at the bottom is because that's what they want, right? So you have to understand the dynamic of what it is you're trying to do versus what someone else wants you to do, and be able to navigate between those two extremes. You have to be able to understand when someone says, do you want a fry, versus you don't really want fries, right? Because those are two totally different things. You may not want a fry today, but you might want a fry tomorrow. So you don't want to be in a position where someone's constantly trying to get you to navigate into areas that you don't actually want to be in. And it's hard to do that while also being humble and being respectful. It's very difficult in life to be a good, honest, humble, and respectful person in society, because you can't reinforce it with brute force and aggression, right? You have to be strong enough to protect your position in life. But in civilized society, we're not allowed to physically challenge each other anymore. So you wind up with this very excessive feminine energy of always constantly being passive aggressive to each other. You don't have to engage in any of that. It's not necessary. You're not going to lose anything. If someone thinks that they're better than you, you're not going to lose anything. You're going to feel a certain kind of way, but you're not going to lose anything. If you have an objective goal and you constantly engage in subjective realities, you're never going to achieve your objective. If you have a subjective goal and you're investing in subjective realities, you're going to be successful. But if you want to do something objectively, if you want to like build a car, whining and complain about the process of making a car is irrelevant because you know cars exist. You know they exist. You've seen them. You've driven in them. You've experienced them. You know that it's not a crazy idea. When you walk up to somebody and say, I want to start a car companies exist. You don't really want to build a car company, do you? Yes, I really want to build a car company. Like, there's no need for the extreme. There's no need for the infinity. What are the necessary steps to start a car company? What do I have to do to get from where I am to where I want to be? How do I achieve that? How do I go from where I am to where I want to be? That's the foundation of what my 2 cents stands for. That's the goal of reality. You don't have to get distracted by all of the BS in the world. There's no need to. You don't have to be a part of it. If someone's trying to strangle you, deal with that, right? Don't die, deal with that. Someone's threatening to strangle you, deal with that. Don't be threatened by the idea that, oh, they're going to kill me. Deal with that. You telling me that you're going to hurt me. Okay, stay away from me. You know, it's a week later, somebody come up and y'all in this conversation and this guy or this girl said, I'm going to try to hurt you. And this other person don't understand. They don't have to understand. It's not necessary for them to subjectively understand or agree. You just have to protect yourself from that one person, right? So you don't have to worry about that dynamic of, I don't understand why he's behaving that way, or I don't understand why he's moving. Because at the end of the day, people that are going to manipulate are going to manipulate. And if somebody has already made it clear to you that they want to hurt you, and they're going to manipulate the people around them to make it easier for them to hurt you, your best defense is to stay away from that person. And if it means that you have to leave all of those other people around that person alone too, do that shit. Do that shit. Put the quality of your life before other people's quality of life if they don't want to recognize that, right? Because the other people in that circle should be willing to take your side and protect you from that other person, but they probably won't because manipulators are good at manipulating. Once you understand that, stop being part of energy. Just stop. Just say no. I'm done with that. Okay, I don't want to be dealing with you. There's a billion people on this planet. I'm not dealing with you. That's why my wife is Nigerian. I spent the vast majority of my life living in America dealing with bullshit. And I believe this idea that it's just an American problem, right? So then I went to the internet and found a woman in Nigeria, and I ignored the same quality, the same signs that I had with American women. I ignored them because she wasn't an American. But women are going to be women. Girls are going to be girls. People are going to be people. And the energy is going to always be there. And you have to be humble, but you can also accept the reality of situations. And that's the foundation of my 2 cents. Creating a universal standard that will help you navigate your life so that you can achieve your objectives without having to infringe on other people is the goal, you know. You were scrolling and you found me again. Yeah, the YouTube algorithm, I upload regularly now. So the algorithm is like, yeah, check him out real quick, you know. The content's gonna get better. It's not gonna keep just being off the wall nonsense. I'm just homeless living in my car, chilling. So the more I put content out, the more people that addresses my content and likes it and shares it, the more the scope of what the algorithm thinks my demographic is will continue to grow and evolve. So yeah, sorry for the spam, but that's just how this is gonna have to work. Until I get out of my car and get my own place, I'm gonna have to just keep being random because I don't have the necessary infrastructure that I need to be as consistent as I normally would be, but I have the resources that I need. You probably need to increase your viewer count. You have to have a certain number of viewers. You have to have a certain number of viewers and a certain number of subscribers before you can go live. Let me see if I've got another phone. BT. There you go. I just subscribed to you. I use my other channel. My main internet surfing, my main YouTube surfing channel. I just use it to subscribe. So there you go. You got an extra subscription. So, but my rant's over. That's it. All right, no problem. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Sometimes people will ask you a question like, "Do you want ice cream?" or "You don't really want ice cream," or "We should go get ice cream." Those leading questions are the ones you have to be aware of. Like, it's not necessarily a leading question. Sometimes it's just a question, but it's the way that manipulators actually manipulate. It's the difference between something that is finite and something that's infinite. You always do this. You never do that. Those infinities, those open-ended questions and those subjective statements, you just got to be mindful of them. So, and don't use them don't use them for yourself either. Don't. I'm never gonna be able. You definitely will eventually. Never only exist when you're dead. And as long as you are alive, you're a state of infinity. It's only when you die that the opportunity or the option no longer. If you lose your leg, yeah, you're never gonna walk again. Maybe you'll get a prosthetic, but yeah, you'll never walk again. Some things are valid and true, but for the most part, don't make yourself a finite being. Always try to be as humble while also being as open to possibilities as you can. That's the only way to. That's the best way to live life. You don't have to waste a lot of energy being chaotic and full of anxiety for no reason. Just chill. Like, life's not that hard. So as always, my name is Paul Emerson, and I've given you my 2 cents. Thanks for the sub. I appreciate it.